Hey guys, Savage Joy here with Real Progressives. Tonight I am joined by someone who did a song called Bernie Bongos that I basically is my spirit animal. I've played it probably over 100 times. Mr. Matt Orfalea.
There you go. It's a tricky
He's
name.
awesome. He's in DC, and he makes progressive political videos, and basically just kind of blew up over YouTube and started getting millions of views. So thank you so much for joining us, Matt.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Joy.
Absolutely. So as far as, starting out and doing your videos, did you ever anticipate how huge they were going to get?
I really didn't. I always hoped it would, but didn't really blow up until 2016 presidential campaign. I was just seeing, I'm looking at all the archival clips of Bernie and just being amazed, and I'm trying to get people to see it, even my own family. I'm like telling my brother, you got to see this. You really like this guy. He's not particularly into politics. And the only way to get him to see it is if I made a good edit. Where I put this stuff into like maybe 3 minutes, so we can get the gist in a short period of time. Because unfortunately, most people aren't going to listen to like a full Bernie Sanders speech, at least not before they've seen a good short video. And
Right.
so I put that together on Facebook. I didn't even have a Facebook page, just my profile, and it got millions of views, and that just kept happening again, just on my regular profile.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, because before I joined RP, my shows used to get I'd say maybe 15 views on a good day.
Well,
sorry.
That still happens to me too.
Now I'm at about 20, so we're good. No, I'm just kidding. But I know after Bernard and the whole DNC bullshit, I know you did start supporting Jill,
Yes.
and you did a video with her as well. One of the things I loved about watching your Patreon video was I saw First Lady Jane said something, Miss Nina said something. I mean, it was so rad. Like, all these progressive heroes were commenting on how much they love your videos.
Yeah, it felt great. I mean, unfortunately, Jane Sanders, she didn't see it until like at least a year later, until but until after the election. But hey, at least she saw it. Nina did see it during the election. Killer Mike, that was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I would definitely fangirl about that shit. When I met Jane at Bernard's birthday party in September, she told me she's seen a few of my shows, and I told her I was going to pee my pants. It was pretty, literally, it was pretty epic. So Bernie Bongos, obviously, that was like a given. What inspired you for that? I mean, that was just so spot on. But otherwise, what are some of the things that, inspire you to make those raps and to make those videos?
Well, I mean, kind of like I was saying, I mean, just to get people to introduce people to Bernie Sanders who aren't, particularly into politics. And I have never been like particularly into politics until 2016. And so I thought, hey, if I can, I feel the guy. I think it's just amazing. It's no other politicians really seems to be that authentic, and no other politician can actually has like video of them from decades ago where he's saying the same stuff. So I just thought this guy was worth sharing. People weren't going to know about it through the mainstream media. So I was like, this is a way I can contribute. I can help get this word out. So I tried to help get the word out. And one way to do that is with a rap music video.
Hell yeah. Well, it's catchy as hell, that's for sure.
Yeah, the auto tune needs a little work, but
Yeah, right.
I
Oh my
tried. I
God.
tried.
I wish I could do even like a billionth of what you do. Like these guys know I can't do anything tech wise, like at all. I freely admit that. As far as your videos, you have a really brilliant way of, lack of a better term, saying something negative without insulting. You know what I mean? I don't know the art of that. That's why they call me Savage Joy. But you you have this beautiful way of just saying, like, the way you talk about Hillary's Wall Street transcripts, but you're not like F you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have this really awesome way of pointing it out without being demeaning.
Thanks.
So
I try to do that. I'm pretty sure. I mean, probably, to be fair, like, probably if someone, like, searched through my, they could probably find some pretty negative stuff. But generally, yeah, no, I do try to be positive. Try to not go with the ad hominem attacks and just, like, insults. I like insults, but as long, you got to make them like a point with it, not just an ad hominem attack. That ideally, I try.
So do you think you're going to be making a 2020 video? It'll be hard not to be negative, but
I've actually, I've got some clips organized, kind of ready to go for that if need be. There's definitely a lot of material to work with. So yeah.
Are you still feeling Bernie?
I am. Yeah, I am. I know a lot of people are hating on him, but he's done some pretty amazing things. I believe, I've been busy working on videos, but I did just catch some headlines recently. It seemed like he made some real progress in Yemen, right? Regarding Yemen.
Yeah.
That's pretty,
absolutely.
that's epic. The
Yeah.
guy, I don't know how people could be, people that were all for him in 2016, or really anybody that actually gets a proper introduction to him and isn't just going by, hearsay, could be put off by him. But
right. He's fighting for humanity, that asshole. I don't get it. I don't get it. He's certainly flawed. He's human,
that's for sure. For sure. And there you can, he's not above criticism.
Right.
He did sign that ridiculous legislation to try and make BDS illegal, right? The Israeli boycotting Israel illegal. That was a little while ago, and every other senator signed on to it. So that's not really.
No, that changed today.
Okay.
He and Feinstein, of all people, came up with something to have them sign, not to stifle the freedom of speech or something of that sort. So that literally just broke today.
That's great. Wow, that's great.
Okay. Yeah. So I was surprised Feinstein was down, which was really weird. What are your thoughts about, like, this Beto Biden thing?
I'm not. I was never really like that crazy about Beto. People kept like sharing videos and stuff, but I don't think he ever really said anything. It didn't seem like anything special to me. Again, a big part of that is because we can't really look back decades ago and see him saying the same stuff because he's new on the scene. So I don't know. So I definitely like reserve judgment. I'm not going to be a fanboy of somebody before they actually really do anything that I'm aware of. Maybe there's stuff he's done that I'm not aware of. I don't know much about Beto's past, but
he's done stuff. Yeah. Like, he's done stuff as far as voting with Republicans, deregulating banks, taking fossil fuel money, all those gems.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
but he's hot and he rides a skateboard.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. Like, someone was like, these are like friends I respect, but they're sending me this, him doing this like dramatic speech in support of Colin Kaepernick, and hey, that's great. But it's like, it's 2018. It's like late 2018, or it was mid 2018. It sounds like that. Like, why is he just doing this now? Like, this is old news. But anyway.
Yeah, he also refused to sign HR 676, which is
Remind me what that is.
Medicare for all.
Oh God. Oh
yeah,
that's right.
yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
It was familiar. It was familiar. I remember things in rhymes, Joy. So
okay, you're gonna have to, dude. But let me tell you, if you hate on Beto, even if it's dropping facts, be prepared, because they came up with this Bernie bot. There are Beto bots who are ready to attack. It's bananas. Like,
wow.
they just, like, no, don't. Yeah, be prepared.
I believe it.
So how many people do you think are going to run on the Dem side? It's going to be like bananas.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I mean, at this point, I would like Bernie to run, obviously. Tulsi Gabbard would be cool. I don't know if she's been saying anything, but yeah, I don't know what else to say, but yeah, I guess it'll be crazy. I mean,
yeah, I feel in my gut they're both going to announce for sure. It's just going to be like, it's going to be like two progressives against like 30 neo-libs. It's definitely going to be fascinating. What is something that you're very focused on right now as far as causes?
Causes right now, well, censorship is kind of a big thing for me, and I think that's something everybody can agree is important. Free speech. It's not a partisan thing. More specifically, supporting WikiLeaks, making sure people understand, that situation, because there's so much, kind of like Bernie in 2016. Unless people had actually done a little bit of, or at least early on, if people hadn't actually done a little of their own research, they'd have a completely inaccurate view of who Bernie was. Same thing with Assange. Like, I mean, honestly, yeah, you got a decade now of smear campaigns against him. Like, the worst things you could possibly say about anybody. The worst. I mean, Joy, what is the worst thing you could say about anybody? What's just give me like one of the worst things you could say. A terrible insult.
How about that they're an ugly person?
He's been called that. Yeah, and a terrorist, and a cat torturer. What?
Someone called Bernard a cat torturer?
Oh no, I'm talking about Julian Assange now, but I'm sure they said worse things about Bernie. I mean, truly, I mean, they say that Assange has blood on his hands for leaks. It's a complete fabrication. Fabrication. The government admitted in court they have no evidence of physical harm as a result of WikiLeaks.
Absolutely. I mean, he's the one that Hillary was like, "Can't we just drone this guy?" I mean, no, totally cool.
Yeah, it's so fucked up. I mean, and I wasn't exaggerating. Literally the worst things: terrorism, murderer, pedophile.
Yeah, pedophile, rapist.
I mean, and they redacted the ridiculous accusation of him being a pedophile. I mean, they publish it and then they redact it, and it's just like, and most people, they just get a glimpse of the headlines and they don't catch the redaction. It's so bad.
They already shared it thousands of times.
Yeah.
So, and then Julian offered $1 million for WAPO to pull back that article who accused him of meeting with, I believe it was Mueller. And Julian's like, "I'll give you $1 million if you can prove that." And of course, that kind of didn't happen because they dropped it. But yeah, I can't even fathom. Dude can't even leave his house for 6 years, and he's being attacked. His Facebook gets shut off. His social media gets shut off. He communicates through his mother. His mom's the one tweeting like, keep us in your thoughts, stuff like that. It's absolutely horrible.
Yeah. So I'm definitely, organizing a lot of clips and, writing and thoughts to make, a couple videos about that. And then the last one you asked, about topics I'm interested in as of now, and to go along with the censorship issue, I just dropped a video about the Atlantic Council, which is an institution that's funded by governments and the largest corporations in the world, huge banks, huge military contractors, literally the biggest in the world, biggest fossil fuel companies in the world. And Facebook partnered with them to monitor for misinformation on Facebook in order to protect free and fair elections. To monitor for misinformation. And is that really something we want, that these big, powerful companies to have any influence over, even indirectly through the Atlantic Council? And then some other details that I do share in the video that I think are rather alarming is that there's a lot of former Bush administration people on this Atlantic Council. This Atlantic Council literally the same night they announced this partnership with Facebook to fight misinformation, they were launching their own misinformation campaign as they praised George W. Bush with a Distinguished Leadership Award. A Distinguished Leadership Award for international leadership. This is a guy that lied us into war. Yep. He's not an he's the last person we should be honoring for international leadership. And so this is the same people that are monitoring Facebook for misinformation. I could go on with the crazy, shady characters at the Atlantic Council with shady pasts, including Rupert Murdoch, who pushed the Iraq War, knowingly, consciously pushed the Iraq War agenda through his media empire. And now we're giving this institution where that Rupert Murdoch sits on the International Advisory Board, we're giving this institution power to oversee Facebook and monitor it for misinformation. And what do they do when they monitor it for misinformation? Well, they pick things, identify accounts that have or display inauthentic behavior. So all the things, I don't know, if you've been following, you've seen all these Facebook announcements this last year, where they say, we eliminated 32 Russian pages. That's what they said first. Then they said we're eliminating some more Russian accounts. Oh, we're not 100% sure that they're all Russian. Then they said, okay, no, 100% of the. Now they say hundreds they're removing. This was just this October, and none of them are Russians. They're all Americans, as far as they can. For inauthentic behavior, which is a very general term. It's disturbing. Anyway, I mean, I could go on for that on about that for a while, but we can move on to something else. Or I don't know if you have any questions, or what were you going to say?
Yeah, I mean, no, you're right. Inauthentic would be like the pandering almost every politician does. I mean, that's inauthentic. Yeah. I mean, the thing that's just so crazy is, have you seen these memes that they're saying influenced us? Like, they obviously think we are stupid as hell. Oh God, yeah. Like, the one I saw today is so amazing. Chris Hayes, who's just a total fucking twat, he posted it on his page today, and he's like, this is one of the Russian memes, and it was about Jesus masturbating. I'm really not sure what that has to do with Hillary or Bernie, but apparently it convinced us to not vote for her. Some of that, or like Bernie in a Speedo.
I don't think Chris Hayes even believes that had an effect. Like that's absurd. Like,
I never even saw any of them. Yeah. Did you?
No, I didn't.
So crazy.
Yeah, and like even in the Senate hearing, I mean, Facebook was like, yeah, it was 0.00000 point, of like the ads or the views on Facebook or something. It's just so minuscule. And obviously this is the point everybody, all the everybody that probably watches your show is making, and that is that billions of dollars were spent on propaganda, and the amount of that was spent by Russians was just a tiny fraction. Like it is insignificant.
I think they said it was $4,700.
Actually, okay, I heard $2,700 on Google, and like 100,000 on Facebook. But how many views does 100,000 get you? It could get you. It could actually get you like maybe 100 million views. But you know what? I'm a douchebag living in a basement, and I got 100 million views. I didn't spend a cent. So I don't think so. It really, some people who don't really know how Facebook works and how many views are generated on Facebook, they hear $100,000. I mean, already that's like nothing compared to the billions. But even so, that ain't much. I'm telling you, I got just about as much without spending a goddamn cent, and I'm just one douchebag by myself, working by myself. I'm not getting funded by any government or anybody except maybe like 10 people on Patreon. Thank you, 10 people on Patreon.
So this person says it's not worth talking about. Stop it now.
I understand that. We've definitely heard
I don't really take orders, so yeah, no. When you're on your show, you can decide what to talk about, but this is on the news every day, so I'm just going to keep the conversation going. Thanks for your input, though. That's why they call me Savage Joy. But kid has claws. So as far as things that are coming out on social media, again, I just created a Twitter about a week and a half ago because I get so overwhelmed with the negativity on Facebook that I was like, oh man, we're gonna this is gonna be twice as much. Like I already get a bajillion notifications. But Twitter really is meaner. People were telling me that, and I'm like, holy shit, like it really is meaner. Do people ever hate on you because of your videos?
I've definitely gotten hate before, but to be honest, Twitter in general, I think it's less traffic than Facebook, right, and at least YouTube for me. And so yeah, most of the hate would come on those other platforms for me. What would
they possibly say? Like,
I mean, just general insults, really, just general insults. Like, it just is the gayest thing I've ever seen. Like these just general insults that you can put on any video. So I don't really take offense to them because they're just kind of cut and paste insults. Some of them are amusing. Yeah.
You seem so carefree. I need to know how to do that.
Let's see what else. Oh, well, actually, honestly, sometimes one thing that obviously I can get stressed out if I, just looking at that Facebook news feed or just any news source, or feeds, Reddit, whatever, like the Washington Post. It can be concerning in some cases because the issues really are serious. In other cases where you just see other people getting it so wrong, it can be alarming. But so honestly, just block Facebook for a day, 24 hours. It's great. I recommend it. That's one thing I do and it helps me get stuff done. But everybody watching, obviously don't do that now. But at some point, yeah, there's some good apps you can get to give yourself a break and de-stress, because Facebook wants you stressed because it's good for engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you learn to start doing all this stuff graphic wise? Did you go to school as a graphic artist?
I did go to school for moving image arts, so artsy, but it's basically just film video, and obviously nobody shoots film anymore. but I actually did in school, which was nuts. I was probably the last class to ever actually shoot film because it's pointless now. It's ridiculously expensive and more trouble than it's worth. But actually I got into video editing in high school. It's kind of a funny story. I had never even heard of video editing. I'm stuck at some boarding school actually, and
what'd you do?
I just wasn't. What did I do? I was failing high school. That's what I did. And parents, the whole getting me out of the house was definitely an incentive, and I was happy to leave too. And here's the thing. So I'm in the middle of nowhere at the boarding school, and I'm also injured at this point in time, so I can't even play sports. In the middle of nowhere with nothing to do, stuck at school. Oh, it's like the worst situation ever. And so some teachers actually, he's working on a video project, and he sees I got nothing to do. And he's like, "Oh, free labor," or whatever. And he's like, "But no. He actually offered me an opportunity to work with him on this documentary about our school's community service. And incredibly, he lent me his laptop. He lent me the little camcorder that he was using, and give me a really quick intro. And I started working on this, and for the first time ever, Joy, I found myself in a study hall in school, actually enjoying myself. And I was like, whoa, like this has never happened before. And so I know that's when I was kind of just in. Oh, and then it got to a whole other level where I actually showed the film in front of the whole school. And they really liked it. I mean, it was making fun. I totally turned it into something that was making fun of the school's community service because it was a total joke. Like we didn't do shit, and the headmaster didn't do shit, and I got him on camera, like like he didn't know what to say. I'm like, so what do you do for community service? And he's just like, because he didn't do anything. Anyway, so the people seem to like, even though obviously it sucked because it was my first video ever. But the priest who okayed the video being shown, he told me he almost lost his job over it. The headmaster almost fired him over it because it embarrassed the headmaster. Right. And anyway, so I was like, whoa, the headmaster actually ordered it to be destroyed. I'm not making that up. And so I was like, not only did I enjoy myself making it in the process, but at the end, I'm like, oh my God, the power, like it's just really it's a powerful medium. And I don't know, and that was it. And then I was like, oh God, maybe when I had a college counselor ask me, it's like, so where are you doing for college? And it's like, wow, I think I actually will. I may go to college actually. There is something worth that I may be interested in studying further. Anyway, but now just so everybody knows, you can learn anything on YouTube. Everything I learned in college, you can learn on YouTube, and I've learned more on YouTube than in college.
That's awesome. That's a rad story.
Thanks. I thought it was a fun experience.
That's awesome. I love when people actually find their niche, and they, I still don't, at 40, I'm still not sure what mine is.
Do you not have it? Is this not it? Is this not one of?
I don't know. I hope so. I mean, I hope so.
I've seen your videos. I mean, you seem to be good at it. You seem to enjoy it.
I do. There's something about sitting in a spare bedroom and talking to congressmen. That's, it's fulfilling.
It is kind of cool. I mean, I say this walking in the basement.
As far as what's going on in France, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, sounds interesting. I don't know that much about it, other than people are upset and they're freaking taken to the streets, and I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I understand, they've got their benefits being threatened, and they're doing something about it. They don't like their leader, and they're doing something about it. They're going out in the streets and letting them know, and I think that's great.
I saw today that a lot of the police and security are actually saying they're going to join them.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Because of pay wages and things like that. I don't think we could ever have that personally here, because people only come together really in mass once a year to wear pussy hats and vagina costumes and buy mugs with screen printed things on them.
Don't forget the Super Bowl, Joy. Come on.
Oh, 2 days a year, damn it. So do you think we could ever get to that point where there are more activists than slacktivists and people actually say, you know what, whether this affects me or not, I'm gonna go out in those streets and with signs and seriously fuck some shit up.
Well, I don't think that they have to realize that, or decide like, oh, whether this affects me or not. No, they just have to just realize it does affect them, because it does affect them. Economics does affect everybody, even if it's
Yeah.
not their direct paycheck. Well, everyone else's paycheck most likely, does affect your paycheck. If people aren't making money, people aren't spending money. The economy brings everybody together. We need to realize we're all connected in that sense. And obviously, if you can fuck over these workers, well, then they can fuck over other workers.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I do think that there is a problem in our country, though, with having empathy. Because especially politicians, when they take money from these things and they say, like, I reamed out Nancy Pelosi today on Twitter because I'm not sure that she'd ever see it, but she made the comment that Medicare for all shouldn't be a like a litmus test. And I'm like, okay, that's very privileged of you to say, but some of us actually have medical needs and go in the hospital all the time. And I already have stacks of medical bills. So while you don't care, I do, and other people who are sick do, and things like that. So do you think we'll get to the point where we're going to have more people fighting for these things?
Definitely. I mean, it's already happening, because most Republicans want Medicare for all. Not only do most Americans want Medicare for all, but most Republicans want Medicare for all. So it's definitely, I mean, you wouldn't know that watching the news, right? I don't believe they tell you that every time they bring up the Medicare topic or Medicare for all topic. So, but yeah, most people want it, and more people are wanting it. And obviously a big part of that is because the economy ain't really improving for most people. They use the statistic about saying unemployment's low, but the way they get those numbers obviously is because, well, they're counting part-time jobs. We replace full-time, dependable, good-paying jobs with shitty part-time jobs.
Right.
So yeah, you still got, maybe we got we have less unemployment, but they're shittier jobs than ever. I mean, at least shittier paying, relatively. In recent history, anyway, we're obviously better than the Blair Mountain, but we need to keep making progress.
Yeah, we do, and
because if we do, because then it's you got to keep making progress, otherwise it's gonna get turned in the other direction. You don't keep pushing for that progress, they're just gonna, obviously the employers will lower wages, and if they ever at any opportunity they get.
Sure.
So that's why you need constant pressure.
Right. And I agree with people then when they say, fight for 15 isn't enough. I totally get that. However, when you read articles of the people who, work at McDonald's or Disney and Amazon and stuff, although Bezos is trying to pull some shit now, still, when they got word that their wages are going up like $7 an hour, some of them were able to quit their part-time job then. And some of them spend more times with their kids then. So yeah, maybe it's not enough, but to the people who are getting that raise, it means a hell of a lot. So people, they're very critical, which I understand to a point, but we have to also, be happy that things like this are happening to, to people who need it.
Yeah.
What is something else that you are really passionate about that you hope to see progress with?
Well, I mean, speaking of the economy, one topic that I find very interesting, and I've been an advocate for it for a while, although I haven't been discussing it much recently, and that's universal basic income. Because as great as higher minimum wages would be for most people, if I'm truly am concerned about the prospect of automation. I mean, the inevitability, it seems like to me, of automation taking a whole lot more jobs away from workers. And you don't have a job. If automation is doing the job, minimum wage isn't going to help us. So I think universal basic income is really important to be talking about. And although I haven't really, I've made several videos about this a couple years ago, but recently fucking Barack Obama as said he supports it now, just this year. So,
and Medicare for all, very convenient for him.
Yeah, he did say he was for that before he even ran for president too, but didn't do anything, right? He did. He said he was for single payer. But so yeah. I think that's. What are your thoughts on that, Joy? Because I have had an opportunity. I mean, I love Steve. Got to speak with Steve a couple times, and that is a topic that we get.
Yeah.
And I like that because obviously we agree on a lot of things, but I like arguing about what we can disagree on too. So what do you think? I'm curious. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I agree with the other people at RP in the sense that UBI is good. However, it should be it should work with a Green New Deal or a federal job guarantee. Meaning, yeah, let's have a universal basic income, but let's work it in with a federal job guarantee so everybody is not just given that minimum amount, but also is guaranteed a job. So the awesome thing about federal job guarantee is things like you and I are doing, we could get paid for those. Like,
I see, that's the thing. Now, okay, I don't think so. And that's because, I mean, do you really think if the government would, I mean, what do you think they're going to do? Like pay people to live stream and be video makers? Do you really think that the government's going to do that? Like, I don't think those are the jobs that they would create. But with the universal basic income, it creates a job for everybody, but everybody gets to choose what that job is because they get to choose how they spend their time and how they spend that money.
Well, UBI doesn't create jobs. It just gives people lack of a better term, a monetary stipend each month. Like when they take away Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security, they take away all other payments entirely.
Well, not necessarily. But that's a great point to bring up, though. And that is important because there are people who do want to take away literally the entire welfare system in exchange for universal basic income. Remind me to get to that, but first, and if I can remember, I want to talk on that. But first, you mentioned how UBI doesn't provide people jobs. Well, but what is a job? A job is doing something for pay. So they're paying everybody. In theory, a universal basic income is payment for all citizens, and they do what they want with that money. So it's basically creating a job for everybody, but it's the job that you choose to do for yourself, your community, the job you choose to, whatever you choose to do with your life, that's your job. And you have that choice. People obviously don't have that now. I mean, many people, they're passionate about something and they're passionate about something that's important. Many, if not most people, and this frees people up to do that. So I just think that's really important because if you want, in order for democracy to work, I mean, a reason a lot of people don't show up to those protests. You're like, how do people get out and protest? Why aren't people getting involved in activism and all this stuff? It's not just a lack of empathy. It's they need to be at fucking work. They have that threat of not being able to pay bills, pay rent. I mean, they got mouths to feed. I mean, basic income really frees people up in that way, so they actually can afford to be active in government, in democracy. So I think that's really important. Now, but okay, you make a really important point in that many people, when they say UBI, they want to kill the entire welfare system in exchange for UBI. It doesn't. So one thing is, if I think Medicare for all, in addition to UBI, would be great. And even if you were to scrap like some other, like say Social Security, if UBI is significantly high enough that it actually provides a Social Security for everyone, then Social Security would be redundant. But we don't have to eliminate the welfare, these other welfare programs. The way to do it is you keep them in legislation. You just let them become obsolete. If the UBI is high enough, then nobody will qualify. Will need those programs, so nobody will qualify for them. So you don't take them off the books, because you can still keep them as a safety net. But ideally, what we need to tell these people who want to just scrap them, no. Ideally, UBI gets to a level where people don't need, food stamps or whatever. And if that's the case, great. But you don't take them off the books. You keep them there just in case UBI ever drops too low, or what if they scrap UBI. So we don't want to scrap. I think the way to do it is not scrap the welfare program. You keep it there just in case, and ideally, you just let it rest there and get obsolete if the UBI it becomes high enough that it can provide a quality life, affordable, quality, good life for everyone. Anyway, so that's
what is the amount you're thinking? I read damn, I can't think of the country. It was somewhere in Europe, but they tried UBI, and it turned out that each person got $620. Not enough.
Well, those were UBI tests. I believe that was Finland.
Finland, you're right, Finland.
But and that was a test. Those were tests. So that was not a. They never actually had that as a policy, a government policy. They were just doing tests.
Well, if everybody gets that amount, what's the incentive to get a job?
Yeah, well, I think that's a lot of the argument that we're going to have when people start talking more about UBI. You're going to have one side that's saying, no, we want more. And then the other side is going to be like, no, we don't want it to be so much to prevent people from getting a job. And I think that's a really good debate. Personally, I think it should be enough so that everybody can live comfortably, not like a king, but a modest standard of living. And what's the incentive to get a new job? Well, most people aren't satisfied, living in a basement like myself or whatever. And you want to earn more. I want to get a new computer. I need some new hard drives to fit all my video work on. I need, people always want more stuff, and to upgrade. And so that's an incentive to work. The difference is you won't need a job to survive. Ideally, with UBI, if it's high enough, you don't need the job to survive anymore. But people still need to work to get things done, to earn more money. So that's an incentive.
So do you think that it should be appropriated per state, or because of the cost of living? Yeah, no, that's another great a big issue that people are going to have to talk about. I think, you could do it as a state by state policy. You maybe not even have a federal basic income. You could just do it on the state level. But personally, I think a federal guaranteed income or basic income would work, because
if people, all of a sudden everybody becomes more mobile, and the fact that more money will get you, or less money will get you more in other states, like say like Midwest states, well, that will actually cause people to. I don't think it's a problem that everybody everybody in the country to get the same federal level, because I think an effect of that would be the overpopulated cities where currently everybody's at because they need a job, and so they need to go to cities to try and find them, even though they all aren't enough there for everybody. So the effect of the UBI is people will be like, okay, maybe this isn't enough to live in this expensive city, but it's enough to in a smaller city, and so that could solve the overpopulation problem. I mean, basically, that would make it so it is not really an issue that the cost of living is lower or higher in other places, because all of a sudden it makes people more mobile. Obviously, that's the case now that cost of living is different in places, but now you can't move out of the city where prices are skyrocketing because you need the job and the jobs in the city. But this makes everybody more mobile, and I think that has a great effect. I don't think that screws people over. I think that helps everybody.
My concern is that the federal minimum wage has been $7.25 for years. So to put trust into Congress, government, whoever, and to give our trust to them and say, look, yeah, give us this amount that you think we can live on, it's not going to be appropriate.
Yeah, so I think it's important that if we do get a UBI, we need to make sure that it's tied to inflation. That's why minimum wage, stays so low, because it's not tied to inflation. So you got to tie that to inflation. And I think that solves the problem.
I'm noticing in the comments a few people bring up the same point. With UBI, costs will go up because they'll know that everybody has at least X amount of dollars. So, like, say, landlords and stuff, they'll be like, oh, you only pay $500 now, but you get $1,000 a month, so we're bumping you to $700.
Yes,
thing like that.
Well, I mean, you can go to another place, to another landlord that isn't going to fuck you over like that. And like I mentioned before, you're actually free to do that because you're not tied down to a job. Like you wouldn't be ideally you wouldn't be tied down to a job like we all are now. And number two, you could say, oh, well, what if what if all the landlords agree to do this? Well, price fixing is illegal in the United States, so can't do that. I don't think there would be a problem, because I don't think or at least all landlords certainly wouldn't do that, because they don't have to raise prices to make more money. At least any city that I've been in the last several years, tons of vacancies. You're gonna be making more money with UBI because more people have more money to spend. This is for businesses in general. So you don't have to. So businesses won't have to raise prices to continue making money and even make more money.
There's a guy who already announced his presidency run, Andrew Yang, I believe is his name. He's running on a UBI.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him actually. So that is something that will be interesting in the Democratic primary.
I think it's going to be really fascinating with the primary debates, because you're going to see a lot of different ideas. And I think the one good thing about having so many people up there will be the fact that they're going to be kind of competing to move more left, I think, to get the most votes. Like, you're going to have Bernard on this stage who's like Medicare for all. And then you're going to have like, Beto, who's like, yeah, I didn't sign it. Now he's going to say, I've thought about it, and now I'm on board. Yeah. So we should see. But yeah, Andrew Yang, I'm sure, will bring that up. And I don't know anyone else who's being mentioned who's talking about that.
Yeah, I don't know anybody else either. Although Tulsi, so did you say that Tulsi has talked about running?
She has.
Okay, well, she has talked about UBI also.
Yes.
So maybe she'll bring it up. And Bernie has too, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yep, it's definitely something that I don't think really many people are against, but something we believe needs it needs to be cohesive with something else to work the best way it can. But a few people looks like posted some links in here for you to check out, just to like see kind of what our thought process is. As far as what is coming up for you, what are you doing? Are you working on more videos? If so, in regards to what?
I am working on more videos. Working on, like I mentioned, a couple of videos on WikiLeaks, and in particular, trying to debunk all the smears. In a
concise. Are they going to be rap dance ones?
Probably not.
I want to see a rap about Julian.
I'm not a great I'm not that great a rapper. I just realized, and I'll stick to my strengths editing. I mean, I would like to make although I have written a military industrial complex rap. So maybe I'll get to making that music video at some point.
That is awesome.
Other videos, I mean, all kinds of stuff. I mean, like, I think I've been researching how the U.S. supports terrorism historically, and even as recently in Syria, right? Really interesting stuff. Because obviously, and I'm gonna kind of talk about Tulsi Gabbard's bill, where she was trying to, obviously, it never passed. I don't think it never even got voted on. The whole Stop Funding Terrorism bill. But the thing is, we actually have there's a Ronald Reagan's national security advisor, I believe. So one of his top cabinet members said at a speech in Brown, we just have the audio, where he said that bills like that had been proposed before, like even back when during the Reagan administration, but it never passed because we fund terrorism. So that's pretty interesting stuff. They said, hopefully. No, my thinking on this is it's important for people to understand. Yeah, obviously, terrorism attack is a tactic, and it's not just the United States. It's there's many countries that do this sort of thing. But we're supposed to be better than other countries, and also we're the one that declared war on terrorism. So if we really want to end terrorism, we can start with ourselves, and we do have the largest goddamn military in the world. So if anybody can afford to stop funding terrorism, it's us. And I do define terrorism as targeting civilians.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that Trump is going to stick to his word when he came out today and said we're pulling out troops?
That's a good question. I mean, I sure hope so. But again, I mean, Trump's not really one to trust on his word.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that would be great. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Every day is kind of like a new clusterfuck. It's just kind of, I'm not sure if it adds to it or replaces it, but it's definitely interesting each day.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about Pelosi already being endorsed, even though they don't vote till January?
Yeah, that doesn't sound good to me. Honestly, I'm not following Pelosi's. Oh, you mean endorsed for 2020 or what? What are you talking?
No. Oh God, no.
Yeah.
She's up for re-election of speaker.
Okay.
And she,
people
wanted Barbara Lee. What's that?
Yeah, I guess that's not surprising. Although Barbara Lee, I mean, generally she has some good past to her. I mean, I know she was against the Iraq War, correct? Is
Right.
that, am I correct? But she also was like really like angry, harsh against Bernie Sanders. Like, am I remembering? Am I thinking of the right
I
person?
think you're thinking of
Who am I thinking of?
what the hell's her name from
It was
California? She's Maxine Waters.
uh hmm.
She was
I don't think it's
mad.
Maxine Rodgers, but at least I'm thinking, maybe I'm thinking of someone else. But
Oh, okay.
you know.
Well, Pelosi, like, okay, take um Pramila Jayapal. Okay, she's like known as this progressive, and she got like 83, 84% of the vote. And then a week later, she endorsed Pelosi. And the thing is, Pramila's the head of the Medicare for All caucus, and Pelosi is totally against Medicare for All. So she just like totally endorsed her. Then Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez endorsed her. So it's like a week after she protested her, mind you. So it's like we lost all that leverage because people are just like, yeah, I'll endorse you. So we have nothing to say, hey, I'll endorse you if, like, we don't have that anymore.
Yes. Oh,
and
sure.
now the Dem Party itself has come out and endorsed her. So there's no one else going to run against her or anything. And they're just going to allow her in.
Well, I mean isn't this what they always do though? I mean, this is what they did in 2016. I mean, really, is this not normal?
Well, here's the thing: Trump endorsed Pelosi.
No, I'm not saying it's good. I just
it's just like, how much of a hypocrite do you have to be like defending Nancy Pelosi and hating on Trump, but like he endorsed her, so what's that say about her?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like they if you are progressive, you just passed up your chance to hold her accountable. If you just roll over, nothing's going to change. You already told her she has the position. What's she going to do for you now? Nothing. You know, so I was just disappointed. Yeah, I was really disappointed. So hopefully, you know, things do get better come January when people start getting settled in their new positions, things like that. Who are you looking out for? Who are you super excited for?
As far as politicians?
Yeah.
None. I mean, not really. I'm not particularly. I'm more like an issues person, and when I see a politician who's consistent on issues like Bernie, I can get behind that. But otherwise, I'm not really like a fanboy for any politicians. Although I will say, I mean, I appreciated what Tim Canova was doing in Florida, but I mean, I'm not that in. To see, although Andrew Yang, I mean, I'm excited about that because that really is something totally different. I mean, it's completely different.
It is absolutely. So, and it's definitely going to be eclectic and interesting to see all the different people. So as far as leaving our audience with any final words, what do you want them to take away from this interview, and also give your pages and all that fun stuff?
Takeaway. Well, I mean, I can say I hope you took away that I'm not a complete douchebag, even though I wasn't on top of what's going on with Nancy Pelosi. but I have a lot of videos that you might enjoy. If you liked the Bernie Bongo, you might enjoy some more videos. YouTube.com/Orf, and always looking for some support on Patreon.com/Orf. Or Facebook, Matt Orf Vids.
If you want to see a joke about Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the DNC, that was my favorite. So thank you guys for watching. As you know, I'm going out for another surgery. So my shows are going to kind of be a little sporadic because I'm going on a bit of a hiatus. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much, Matt, for joining us. You're freaking awesome. And like I said, Bernie Bongos is my spirit animal. Makes me happy.
Thank you so much, Joy. I really had fun. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Much love, guys.
See ya. Awesome. Thanks again.
Yeah, absolutely.